Welcome to another math session here in Solve It with Sir Jude. Today, we are going to discuss about trapezoids and kites. So let us begin with the first quadrilateral known as a kite. What is a kite? A kite is a quadrilateral with two distinct pairs of adjacent congruent sides. So let us have an illustration of a kite. Suppose ABCD is a kite. Since a kite has two distinct pairs of adjacent congruent sides, let us name them. So the first pair, we have segment AB is congruent to segment CB. So that is the first pair of congruent sides. The second pair will be segment AD is congruent to segment CD. So that will be the second pair of congruent sides. So this is an illustration of a kite. Let us now go to the parts of a kite. If we are going to draw the diagonal segment AC, we can form two isosceles triangles, and they are triangle ABC and triangle ADC. So from that, we can say that angle B is a vertex angle as well as angle D. How are we going to call angles A and C? Angles A and C are now called as the non-vertex angles of the kite. So let us now proceed with the properties and theorems related to kite. So the first property, a pair of opposite sides, which is known as the non-vertex angles of a kite, are congruent. So suppose we have kite ABCD. Angle A is congruent to angle C because they are the non-vertex angles, and based on the theorem or the property, a pair of opposite sides, which is the non-vertex angles of a kite, are congruent. So, paano sila naging congruent? So let us have the proof. So if we are going to connect diagonal BD, if you can see, we can form two triangles. Triangle ABD and triangle CBD. So let us prove that the two triangles are congruent. So the first statement will be segment AB is congruent to segment CB, and segment AB is congruent to segment CD. So that is based on the definition of a kite. So remember that a kite is a quadrilateral with two distinct pairs of adjacent congruent sides. And then the third one will be segment BD is congruent to segment BD. And the reason is reflexive property of congruence. Based from our three statements, we can say that triangle DAB is congruent to triangle DCB because of the SSS congruence postulate. And by that, since the two triangles are congruent, we can say that angle A is congruent to angle C because of the CPCTC, or the corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So let us now have another theorem or property about kite. So a diagonal of a kite is the perpendicular bisector of the other. So again, let us have kite ABCD. So to elaborate the property or theorem, so that will be note, the longer diagonal bisects the shorter diagonal. So if you can see, if we are going to connect the diagonals, and the diagonals that are supposed intersect at E, yung longer diagonal daw na si segment BD, hinati niya yung shorter diagonal, which is diagonal AC. So therefore, we can produce segment AE is congruent to segment CE. And we can also say that since sinabi na yung diagonal daw ay perpendicular bisector of the other, we can form right angles, and that will be angle AEB, angle BEC, angle CED, and angle DEA. So they are all right angles, so meaning all their measures are 90 degrees. So let us now have another theorem about kite. So a kite, if we are going to get the area, is 1/2 the product of the lengths of its diagonals. So suppose that we have kite ABCD, and if you are going to connect the diagonals, the area of a kite is equal to 1/2 The product, meaning we need to multiply the lengths of the diagonal. So that will be 1/2 times diagonal 1 times diagonal 2. In this case, since we are given with kite ABCD, we can now say that it will be 1/2 of the first diagonal, which is AC, times the second diagonal, which is BD. So let us solve some of problems about kite. So suppose that ROXY is a kite. RO measures 5x plus 2 and OX measures 12. Find the value of x. So let us have or label the kite. So we have RO that measures 5x plus 2 and OX measures 12. So ang una natin gagawin is to relate the given. Ano bang relation ni RO at ni OX? So they are said to be the sides of a kite. So we can relate the two segments using the definition of a kite. A kite has two distinct pairs of adjacent congruent sides. Based on the definition, we can say that segment RO is congruent to segment OX. Since the segments are congruent, we can say that their measures are equal. So RO is equal to OX. Their lengths are equal. Let us substitute. The length of RO is 5x plus 2. So that will be 5x plus 2 equals 12, which is the length of OX. If we are going to apply addition property of equality, or by just transposing positive 2 to the other side of the equation, we will obtain 5x is equal to 12 minus 2. And 12 minus 2, that will be equal to 10. That's why we have 5x is equal to 10. We only need the value of x. So therefore, we need to divide both sides by 5 and getting the value of x, which is equal to 2. This will be the end of our solution since we are asked only to find the value of x. Let us now have another example, a problem about kite. So ROXY is a kite. So angle ORY is equal to 11x minus 24 and angle OXY is equal to 5x plus 36. Find the measures of the given angles. So how are we going to relate angle ORY or simply angle R and angle OXY or simply angle X? So we should take note that angle R measures 11x minus 24 degrees and angle OXY measures 5x plus 36 degrees. Relating the two angles, since they are the non-vertex angles of our kite, so we can say that they are congruent. Using this property or theorem, a pair of opposite sides, which are the non-vertex angles of a kite, are congruent. So since they are congruent, we can say that angle ORY is congruent to angle OXY. Since the angles are congruent, we can say that their measures are equal. Substituting the expressions equivalent to each angle, that will be 11x minus 24 is equal to 5x plus 36. Next, we need to simplify the equation. We can apply addition property of equality or we can transpose terms. So that will become 11x minus 5x is equal to 36 plus 24. So remember, when we are transferring terms, we are changing their signs. So simplifying this further, we will obtain 6x is equal to 60. We need to get the value of x. So therefore, we need to divide both sides of the equation by 6, making our x equal to 10. So this will not be the end of our solution since we are asked to find the measures of the given angles, angle ORY and angle OXY. So after getting the value of x, the next thing that we should do is to substitute it into one of the measures of the angle given. So let us use measure of angle ORY. So measure of angle ORY is equal to 11x minus 24. So substituting the value of x, it will now be 11 times 10 minus 24. 11 times 10 minus 24, so that will be 110 minus 24. Simplifying this further, we will now have 86. So we can say that angle ORY is equal to 86 degrees. Since ORY is congruent to angle OXY, we can also say that angle OXY is also equal to 86 degrees. Another example for kite. So ROXY is a kite. We need to find the area of the kite if the diagonals OY, which is equal to 50 centimeters in length, and RX, which is equal to 30 centimeters in length. So let us have the given. So OY measures 50 centimeters and RX measures 30 centimeters. So getting the area or the formula in getting the area of a kite. So it is 1/2 of the product of the length of its diagonal. So area is equal to 1/2 diagonal 1 times diagonal 2. In this case, the diagonals are OY and RX. So that will be area of a kite is equal to 1/2 times OY times RX. Then we need to substitute. So that will be 1/2 times 50 centimeters, that will be for OY, times 30, that will be for RX. So 50 centimeters times 30 centimeters, that will result to 1,500 square centimeters. And 1/2 of 1,500 square centimeters will be 750 square centimeters. So therefore, this will be the area of our kite. So we are now through with kite. The second quadrilateral that we are going to discuss today is all about a trapezoid. So a trapezoid is a quadrilateral with one pair of opposite sides that are parallel. So if we are going to compare a trapezoid from a parallelogram is a quadrilateral with two pairs of opposite sides that are parallel. While for trapezoid, it has only one pair of opposite sides that are parallel. So let us have the illustrations of trapezoids. So for this one, we have the pair of parallel sides. We have segment TP is parallel to segment RA. While let us have the other trapezoid. So for this trapezoid, we have the parallel sides. Segment ZD is parallel to segment OI. So these are two different trapezoids. So let us now have the parts of a trapezoid. The first will be the bases or the parallel sides of the trapezoid. In the first figure, segment TP and segment RA are the bases of the trapezoid. While for the second trapezoid, we now have segment ZD and segment OI as the bases of the trapezoid. Next part will be the legs of the trapezoid. The legs are said to be the non-parallel sides. So for the first trapezoid, TRAP, the legs will be segment TR and segment PA. Trapezoid ZOID, we now have the legs which are segment ZO and segment DI. Let us now focus on a specific kind of a trapezoid, which is known as an isosceles trapezoid. So an isosceles trapezoid is a trapezoid with congruent legs. So let us suppose that TRAP is an isosceles trapezoid with segment TP parallel to segment RA. So therefore, they are considered as the base of our trapezoid. Then, the legs will be segment TR and segment PA. So based from the definition of an isosceles trapezoid, it is a trapezoid with congruent legs. So therefore, segment TR must be congruent to segment PA in order for us to consider that this illustration is an isosceles trapezoid. So let us have the properties or theorems related to isosceles trapezoid. The first one, the base angles of an isosceles trapezoid are congruent. So let us have trapezoid TRAP. So let us suppose that this is an isosceles trapezoid with segment TP and segment RA to be the bases of the trapezoid. Since it is an isosceles trapezoid, segment TR is congruent to segment PA. Where are the base angles? So one base angle will be angle T and angle P. So they are considered as our upper base angles. Based on this theorem or property, they are congruent. So we can say that angle T is congruent to angle P. The next pair of base angles will be angle R and angle A. Based from the property or theorem again, angle R is congruent to angle A since they are considered as the base angles of this isosceles trapezoid. So if you can see, we have two pairs of base angles. Normally, we have the upper base angles and then the lower base angles. Since they are congruent, we can say that their measures are also equal. So if the measure of angle T is 120 degrees, angle P measures 120 degrees also. Likewise, if we have the measure of angle R, which is equal to 60 degrees, angle A is also 60 degrees. Let us now have the second property of an isosceles trapezoid, and that will be opposite angles of an isosceles trapezoid are supplementary. So let us now have the illustration. So angle T and angle A are opposite angles, so we can say that they are supplementary. So when we talk about supplementary, the measures, kapag inad natin yung dalawang angles na yon, will result to 180. So that will be the measure of angle T plus the measure of angle A is equal to 180. Same with the other pair of opposite angles, angle P and angle R. They are opposite angles, so therefore they are supplementary based on this theorem or property. Since they are supplementary, we can say that the measure of angle P plus the measure of angle R is equal to 180. So meaning, kapag ang measure ni angle T ay 120, we can say that the measure of angle A is 60 degrees because if we are going to add those two opposite angles, the sum must be 180 degrees. Next property about an isosceles trapezoid, and this will be the last property. Diagonals of an isosceles trapezoid are congruent. So if we are going to consider this trapezoid, isosceles trapezoid to be precise, if we are going to connect the diagonals, they are said to be congruent, or segment PA is congruent to segment RP. Ang susunod na tanong, bakit sila congruent? So let us consider two triangles. Triangle TRA, so the blue triangle. And then the other one, the second triangle, triangle PAR. There. So let us prove that the two triangles are congruent. So what are the sides or angles that we can consider to be congruent? So the first pair of congruent sides will be segment PR is congruent to segment PA. So they are the legs of our isosceles trapezoid. So based on the definition of an isosceles trapezoid, it has congruent legs. So therefore, they are congruent. The second congruent parts will be angle R is congruent to angle A. Why? Because the base angles of an isosceles trapezoid are congruent. So that is based on the previous theorem or property that we have. The third parts that we can consider will be segment RA is congruent to segment RA. So that is based on the reflexive property of congruence. So the two triangles are congruent because of, that's right, we have SAS congruence postulate. Since the two triangles are congruent, we can say that segment TA is congruent to segment RP based on the CPCTC. So therefore, we have proven the theorem about the diagonals of an isosceles trapezoid that are congruent. So let us now have the properties of an isosceles trapezoid. So we have three. Next, let us have some problems related to an isosceles trapezoid. So we will use this figure in order for us to solve the given problem. So if angle T is 100 degrees and angle P is 2x plus 10 degrees, find the value of x. Ang una muna natin kailangan i-consider, i-relate natin yung mga given. So the given are the angles. We have angle T and angle P. Angle T and angle P are correct, the base angles of our isosceles trapezoid. So what can we say about the base angles of an isosceles trapezoid? They are congruent. So therefore, we can say that angle T is congruent to angle P. Since they are congruent, we can say that their measures are equal. So let us have angle T, so that will be the measure 100 degrees, and angle P, we have 2x plus 10 degrees. And if we are going to substitute the expressions, that will be 100 is equal to 2x plus 10. Then we use the addition property of equality. So para mas madali, i-transpose na lang natin si positive 10 sa side ni 100. So that will become 100 minus 10 is equal to 2x. 100 minus 10 will be 90, so which is equal to 2x. Then we need to divide both sides by 2 for us to get the value of x. So 90 divided by 2 will be 45, and 2x divided by 2 will be x. So therefore, the value of x will be equal to 45. This will be the end of our solution since we are only asked to find the value of x. Let us have the second example about an isosceles trapezoid. Find the measure of the diagonals if PA is equal to 4x minus 6 and PR is equal to 2x plus 10. So it is mentioned na diagonals yung given. Okay? So how are we going to relate the diagonals of an isosceles trapezoid? They are said to be congruent. So therefore, we can say that segment PA is congruent to segment PR. Since they are congruent, their measures are also equal. So we should take note that segment TA measures 4x minus 6 and segment PR measures 2x plus 10. So let us now equate the two expressions. So it will be 4x minus 6, so that will be the length of TA, is equal to the length of PR, which is 2x plus 10. Then we apply addition property of equality, or we just need to transpose the terms. Pagsamahin yung lahat na may x, and then pagsamahin lahat ng constant terms. So that will be 4x minus 2x is equal to 10 plus 6. Combining similar terms, we will now obtain 2x is equal to 16. We only need to get the value of x, so divide both sides by 2. So therefore, the value of x is equal to 8. This will not be the end of our solution because we are asked to find the measure of the diagonals. So let us use TA is equal to 4x minus 6. Well, kahit alin sa dalawang equation, TA or PR, pwede natin gamitin. So in our example, let us use TA is equal to 4x minus 6. So substituting x, which is equal to 8, so that will be 4 times 8 minus 6, that will be equal to 26. Since based on the property or theorem that the diagonals of an isosceles trapezoid are congruent, since TA is equal to 26 units, therefore we can say that PR is also 26 units. The next will be the median or the mid-segment of a trapezoid. This is another part of a trapezoid. It is a segment joining the midpoints of the legs of the trapezoid, meaning the non-parallel sides. It is parallel to the bases and is half the sum of the lengths of the bases. So let us illustrate. So suppose that we have trapezoid TRAP. If we are going to have the midpoints of ER and PA as x and y respectively, so we can say that TX is congruent to XR since point X is the midpoint, and PY is congruent to YA since Y is the midpoint. Joining points X and Y, we will produce segment XY. This will be the mid-segment of this trapezoid. So, based on our definition, this segment XY, which is the mid-segment or the median, is parallel to the bases. So, what are the bases? We have segment TP and segment RA. And at the same time, XY or the length of XY is 1/2 the sum of the lengths of the bases. So that will be, the first base is TP, plus the second base is RA. Thus, we have xy is equal to 1/2 quantity TP plus RA. So let us have a problem regarding this. TRAP is a trapezoid with median xy. If TP is 14 and RA is 30, find the length of the median. So again, that to find the length of the median, which is xy, it is just equal to 1/2 the sum of the lengths of bases. So that will be TP plus RA. So if we are going to substitute, so xy is missing, so that will still be xy is equal to 1/2 times quantity, the length of TP is 14, plus the length of RA, which is 30. 14 plus 30 will result to 44. Then 1/2 of 44, that will be 22. So therefore, the length of xy is 22 units. Let us have another example. So again, TRAP is a trapezoid with median xy. So if xy is 10 and RA is 16, what is the length of TP? This time, si median naman ang given. At ang hinahanap natin ay isang base ni trapezoid. So again, let us use the formula. So the median, which is xy, is equal to 1/2 times the quantity, the sum of the bases, TP plus RA. Then substitute. Xy has the length of 10 is equal to 1/2 times TP is still TP since we are going to get or find the length of TP. Then plus RA, the length of RA is 16. So let us first multiply 1/2 times TP plus 16. So it will result to 10 is equal to TP plus 16 all over 2. Ang minamultiply lang natin yung naka-parenthesis at yung 1. Okay? Then, having this equation, let us now cross-multiply. I-multiply natin si 2 kay 10. So that will be 20 is equal to TP plus 16. Let us now transpose 16 to the other side of the equation. So it will now be 20 minus 16 is equal to TP. 20 minus 16, so therefore the length of TP is equal to 4 units. Let us now have the last part of the discussion, which will be all about the midline theorem. The midline of a triangle is a segment joining the midpoints of the two sides of the triangle. It is parallel and half the measure of the third side. So parang parehas lang siya ng median or mid-segment trapezoid, wherein we need to connect the midpoints of the two sides. So let us suppose that we have midpoints x and y for sides AB and AC respectively. So since x is the midpoint, we can say that segment AX is congruent to segment XB. Since y is the midpoint of segment AC, we can say that segment AY is congruent to segment YC. If we are going to connect x and y, we will produce the midline of the triangle. And this midline is said to be parallel to the third side, which is BC. So we can now say that segment XY is parallel to segment BC. And that the other one, it is half the measure of the third side. So therefore, XY, since XY is the midline, is 1/2 the measure of the third side, which is BC. So therefore, kung si BC ay 10, the length of XY, which is the midline, will be 1/2 of 10, which is 5. So kung si midline naman ay 6 units, therefore, si BC will be 12 units. So let us have a problem regarding the midline theorem. So if xy is equal to 3x minus 2 and BC is equal to 9x minus 13, how long is xy? So xy is our midline. So it measures 3x minus 2. And BC is 9x minus 13, which is our third side. So we all know that xy, to find the length of xy, that will just be 1/2 of the third side. So in this case, the third side is BC. We just need to substitute. xy is 3x minus 2 is equal to 1/2. The length of BC is given by 9x minus 13. I-simplify muna natin si 1/2 times 9x minus 13. And that will be 3x minus 2 is equal to 9x minus 13 all over 2. Then we cross multiply. 2 times 3x minus 2, that will be 6x minus 4. And it is equal to 9x minus 13. Then let us transpose the terms. So that will become negative 4 plus 13 is equal to 9x minus 6x. Simplifying the terms, we now have 9 is equal to 3x. Negative 4 plus 13, that will be 9. 9x minus 6x, that will be 3x. Dividing both sides by 3, therefore the value of x is equal to 3. We are asked to find the length of xy. So we are given with x equals 3. We just need to substitute. Xy is equal to 3x minus 2. So the value of x is 3, so that will be 3 times 3 minus 2. 3 times 3, that will be 9, minus 2, that will be 7 units. So therefore, the length of xy is 7 units. So this will be the end of our discussion for today about trapezoids and kites. I hope that you've learned something for today. Kung meron ka nakuha for today, please do not forget to like, share this video for us to help others. Hit the notification bell for more video lessons. And if you are new to our channel, please subscribe. So this is Sir Jude. Good day.